Okay, this is Orlando Wilson. What I want to talk about in this video slash podcast is an article I put up on my blog. Truth only has a few friends. A couple of months ago, somebody's asking questions about it today. The article is about first impressions when you meet people. And it's titled something like First Impressions are important, but second impressions last or something. What I was trying to say there is sadly we live in a society, we live in a world where everybody views everything. They view what they see. They don't view the substance. Most people these days are superficial. This is a classic one in the US. I was in South Florida in the US for 18 years. And the culture there annoys me. It annoyed me greatly because everything's about image. And I know a lot of people, they got the flash cars, they got the labels, labeled clothing, designer clothing. But to put it politely, they don't have 2 pennies to scratch your ass with. All their money goes on their lifestyle, or showing their lifestyle, showing their brand, showing their car, living in a flash apartment. They got no money. They work as much as they can. They borrow as much as they can. They live on credit for what? To impress other people. If you're looking at this person from a distance, you would say they had money. Once you scratch the surface, they're broke. I know one guy there. He was worth, property-wise, over $20 million. When it come down to dealing with the person, he could hardly pay his bills because he bought real estate when it was expensive. The market crashed, so he was up to his eyeballs in debt. He couldn't sell the real estate he had. So he had no money, he had no cash, but he's trying to live the lifestyle. You look at him on paper, rich guy, etc. In reality, his life was a mess. So this is where, once you're dealing with people, it's not looking on the surface. Yeah, they might have the nice car, they might have the fancy clothing, the watch, etc., the jewelry. My thing these days with people in jewelry, because I'm a little bit cynical, if somebody turns up and they're sat in front of me with the bling bling watch on and the gold and everything else, what's going through my mind is it real? A lot of times I doubt if it is. And if it is, they're stupid to be wearing it that much in public anyway. If you're dealing with people that's trying to show off, then to me it's why. I think the old saying goes, it's like, designer brands are for poor people that want to appear to be rich. So when you first meet people, always treat everybody with respect. I remember a lot of things because I'm old. I remember dealing with people in London, especially in the jewelry business, a lot of the old Jews. I got total respect for them because they're very wise people. People come to mind. I know one old guy, you look at him, you think he's borderline homeless. Stone cutter. Which means he cuts stones, top. That guy was walking around in his money belts. He had a money belt, which must have had 50 grand in it at a time. Why? So he could buy and sell stones. Then he had the stones he was buying and selling and the stones he was working on. That scruffy guy, who you would walk past in the street and thinks nobody, most probably had 100 grand on him at all times when he's doing business. And you know what? He wasn't the only one. People weren't showing off what they had because they're the old school mentality. You don't want to show off what you've got because people will come and steal it. People will get jealous. People will want to rob you. And in their world, if they're showing off too much, they're most very worried about the tax man turning up and asking if they pay taxes on all the things they have on them. So this is where always be very, okay, people create a good impression. All right, no worries. But again, you want to look of what is beyond the surface. You don't want to be superficial. Just when you meet somebody, again, you can know somebody for years and still not know all their secrets because everybody has secrets, right? But when you meet somebody, look deeper than what they're showing. And this is just not for a business point of view, it's from a personal point of view. You want to be thinking, okay, is this person lying to me? Is this person being honest? do your due diligence, especially if you're doing business with people, because people can create an image, and this is what scammers do all the time. They create an image. They create a persona they want to put out to scam people, and a lot of people do it. I'm dealing with something now, it popped up, a guy with an influential name scammed somebody for a lot of money, somebody I know, and it turns out the name is not his, it's a big family name. He changed his name to that name years ago, etc, and took on the persona of being a member of that family, just because he wanted to, because he would get more fame and more attention from that. And he made up a persona as being a actor, screenwriter, writer, etc. Never done anything. He's a scammer. So scammers do this all the time. Scammers put out a persona of being wealthy, famous, etc., just to scam money out of people. When you meet people, you got to think about how you put yourself across as well. A lot of times, if I'm dealing with people I've never met before, I like to just sit back, watch, let them talk, let them make the mistakes. When people ask what I do, there's no need to tell them what you do in full. There's no need to brag. There's no need to show off. There's no need to meet them with their bravado. A lot of times you're better off just sitting back, being quiet, being humble, and listening to what people have to say. I've dealt with people before, and in my business, this firearms business, etc. I remember meeting with one guy in South Florida. I was trying to help somebody sell a gun range. And the guy he didn't know who I was. He just knew I was working for somebody trying to sell a gun range. And he came out with that much BS about being a gunfighter, about being this, about being that, he'd done everything. He was Rambo. Put it this way, Rambo would be scared of him. And this guy didn't know I knew him. I knew of him. And I've already checked him out. And I'd say 98% of what he was saying was complete and utter BS. If I told him who I was, my experience, here's my business card, etc., he would not come out with so much bravado. He'd been a lot more cagey, and he wouldn't have been himself. So a lot of times, from my perspective, it's a lot better to not self-promote yourself so much, but just sit back and listen to what other people have to say. And sometimes it's a lot better just to undersell yourself. I'll tell you a quick story to finish up. Years ago, I done a job in London, looking after some art at a showing for some new condos, some new apartments overlooking the city of London. Big bucks, stupid money. When I turned up for the job, I was there with another guy. We met the janitor, asked him where the caretaker janitor who was sweeping up the floors, asked him where we had to go for this showing, these apartments overlooking the city of London, etc. Anyway, the janitor pointed us in that direction, very nice man, etc. So we went doing the job. You know what? That guy wasn't the janitor. He was the owner of the building. He was an old East End builder from London that had the foresight to buy these old warehouses and constructed apartments. The person we thought was the janitor owned, as I said, the whole building. He was worth millions. Very humble, very nice, very respectful. I would not have classed him as being a multi-millionaire, which he was. So never take people by appearances, and always never take people by their appearances, and always look deeper. You might be surprised what you find. It might be positive, it might be negative. But a lot of the people that give you the bling bling and show off, take them all with a pinch of salt, because a lot of the supposedly successful people and wealthy people might appear to have money, but as I said, they don't have 2 pennies to scratch your ass with.